Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another meal prep / batch cooking video. So this is a small but mighty video. I am loving the recipes that I made this week. So delicious, such a good week, and I do have 2 brand new recipes in this video. So if you want to see what we're making this week, then definitely stick around. All right, so like every single meal prep, I always start out with breakfast. So breakfast this week, I'm just gonna be sauteing up that bacon there. That bacon we got at the local meat market. It's nice and thick, and oh boy, is it delicious. But I'm gonna throw some eggs in there, some seasonings. The first thing I like to do is take my bacon, I just cut it up into pieces and I crisp it up in the bottom of the pan, and then all of the bacon grease that is left, I don't get rid of that because that is what I'm going to actually cook my eggs in. But that's how we like our bacon. Obviously, you can cook your bacon to the crispiness that you guys prefer. I went ahead and added 12 eggs, so a dozen eggs. And again, I'm just gonna add some seasonings. I love my seasonings, that's what gives it flavor. So adding in some salt, some pepper. Did add in there some everything but the bagel seasoning. That is my jam right now. I'm loving that stuff. But I just go in there and I continuously stir the eggs. I just make it like scrambled eggs and bacon. And when you scramble eggs up in bacon grease, it is delicious. But that is going to be plenty for breakfast. It's mostly Oscar that likes to eat breakfast. I kind of skip it. Next up is another item that you could use for dessert or breakfast, and we are going to be making some blueberry muffins. Those are all the ingredients that you are going to need, and these were delicious. This is actually a new recipe. So once again, Celine is helping me out in the kitchen, and the first thing we're going to start with is almond flour. So we're going to use 1.5 cups of almond flour as well as 1/2 cup of coconut flour. And then we're going to go in with 1/2 cup of sugar substitute. We're just using that monk fruit there. And then also we're going to go in with 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder. It looked like she put much more than that, but she used a small teaspoon. I think it was like a 1/4 teaspoon. And then also like around 1/4 teaspoon of sea salt. Then we're going to go in with the wet ingredients, and it calls for 1/4 cup of melted butter. We're also going to do 3 eggs at room temperature, as well as 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. And then last but not least, we are going to go in with 1/2 cup of full fat sour cream. And then we're going to go in with the hand mixer. We only did the hand mixer for a short period of time because it did get a little bit thick. But after that, we went in with some blueberries. So it says to use 1 cup of fresh or frozen blueberries. We ended up only using around probably 3/4 cup, maybe not even that. And as you can see, she's just folding in those blueberries so that way we don't break them and make the entire batter blue. And then we're just going to put the batter in the prepared donut pans. We did spray them pretty religiously. And this recipe makes 12, basically a dozen donuts. So I kind of helped her out, but she preheated the oven to 350 degrees. And we baked them for around 25 to 30 minutes. I left mine in for 30 minutes. And they got a little bit more done than what I would have liked. So I probably should have only cooked them 25 minutes. But you know what? That is okay because they were still delicious. They were nice and moist. They were not dry at all. Delicious with the blueberries. Oh my goodness. It actually called for an icing as well. They did not need the icing. Next up, we are going to be making another brand new recipe, and these are actually called low-carb farmhouse barbecue muffin cups. The ground beef that I'm using there is actually 2 pounds, so I split that in half. I went ahead and cooked it all, split it in half for 2 different recipes. But we are going to start this out by putting in 4.5 tablespoons of butter that we melted in the microwave. We did add a little bit of salt, like a pinch of salt. It also calls for sour cream. We didn't really measure things out. You know me and measuring. We added 4 eggs in there. So what this is this is going to be the muffin cups to this recipe. And I didn't show the hamburger portion of it because I've cooked hamburgers a million times on my channel. But I did, like I said, cook up that entire 2 pounds of ground beef while I was making this. But I also added in there 1/3 cup of coconut flour. We're also going to add 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. Did add a little bit of garlic powder. And then we're going to go in with some cheddar cheese, around 1/3 cup of cheddar cheese. These recipes will be in the description box below, so that way you can go down there, click the links, find the exact recipes and the exact measurements. But we are just going to distribute this batter throughout the entire, I'm just using my muffin cups there, and we're going to spread them out so that way we can fill them with the meat mixture. So the meat mixture was supposed to be like a barbecue meat. However, I ran out of sugar-free barbecue sauce and I didn't have the things that I needed to prepare my own sugar-free barbecue sauce. So we made it like a taco cup instead. So we added all the ingredients that you would normally use to make like taco meat, the cayenne pepper, the chili powder, paprika, onion powder, garlic powder, all that good stuff. But like I said, I will leave the original recipe down below because I really think that this would be amazing with the sugar-free barbecue like they recommend. So definitely try it their way because I think it would be even better. However, these were still delicious. So once I finally got the meat mixture finished, I did add some cheese into that ground beef meat mixture because I figured the cheese would help hold the meat together, which it did. I just went ahead and filled up the muffin cups, but that's what they look like. We baked these for around 15 minutes and they came out perfectly. 400 degrees in the oven. They were actually so good. But like I said, I'm a barbecue lover, so I think these would be so good if you actually followed the recipe and made them into that barbecue muffin cup instead. But like I said, these were delicious as a taco one. You could probably make it as like some kind of cheeseburger type muffin cup. But these were so good. Actually, both brand new recipes that I tried were delicious. So the next recipe is going to be with the other half of that ground beef that I cooked up. I also went ahead and cut up some zucchini and threw that in with the ground beef. Those are the ingredients I'm going to be using, and I decided that I am going to throw in there some jalapenos. That's the canned jalapenos that I still had from last week's recipe that I had left over. But I put in there some cheese. I did put in there some marinara sauce as well as some cottage cheese. This is going to be kind of like a lasagna dish. Added in my seasoning, so I did go ahead and add in a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, as well as some onion powder, garlic powder. I also went ahead and added some Italian seasoning, and then I just gave it a stir and I kind of reevaluated, and I decided to go ahead and go in with just a little bit more cottage cheese and marinara sauce. And just remember, this is a very fatty dish, so a little bit goes a long way. 1 cup of this is plenty. I did go ahead and add a little bit more cheese. I know 1 cup doesn't sound like much, but when you're eating like a full fat meal like this, 1 cup is plenty. Maybe even like 3/4 a cup, and then eat like a side salad or something with it. But that's what it looked like. It tasted almost like a lasagna soup. It was so delicious. It really hit the spot because I was craving some kind of a lasagna something. So next up, we are going to be making some meatloaf. I was craving meatloaf, and I got some meat from our local meat market. And this meat is a mix of pork, beef, and veal. And this is actually their mixture that they sell like a meatloaf. So it is so delicious. I used 2 pounds. I did throw in there around a 1/2 cup of flax meal. I also threw in there some salt, some pepper. I used some Italian seasoning, some garlic powder, some onion powder, and then I kind of decided last minute I was going to use a little bit of cumin, a little bit of paprika. You guys know I do this all the time. I add things last minute. Went ahead and added a little bit of sugar-free ketchup, a little bit of the Bragg's liquid aminos, and then I did go in with some Worcestershire sauce. as well as some garlic. We love our garlic around here. And then I added 2 eggs to hold all this together. And then I went in with the gift that God gave me, aka my hands, and mixed it all up. Then I just added it to this dish. This dish is an 8x8 baking dish. I personally like it like this because it doesn't take as long in the oven, in my opinion. So I preheated my oven to 350 degrees, and then I baked that for around 30 minutes, and that is how it came out. This is delicious, especially with that mix of meats, the pork, the veal, and the beef. Such a good mixture, and it comes out so, it doesn't come out, sometimes meatloaf comes out a little bit dry. This one was not dry at all, especially with everything that I added to it. Last but absolutely not least, I am going to be making some cream of spinach. We love this stuff in our house. I actually made a double batch so that way it would last a little bit longer because it goes by super duper quick in our house. Those are the ingredients that I'm going to be using. So I started out just putting some butter. That's probably around 4 tablespoons of butter. I just melted that all up in a pan, and then I went ahead and added 1 of the 2 bags that I'm going to be using of spinach into that pan, and I kind of let that cook down a little bit. Because if you didn't know, spinach cooks down a lot. It looks like you're putting a ton in there, and it ends up like, that. So I ended up adding 2 bags, and I let both of the bags cook down a little bit. And again, I will link the recipe to this in the description box below, so that way you guys can go down there, click the link, and find all the ingredients and measurements that you guys need if you want to follow the exact recipe. I am just going to go in with my seasoning, which is just your basic seasonings, some salt, some pepper, some Italian seasonings, and then I go in with garlic. Yeah, girl loves garlic. Then I'm just going to stir that up, and I'm going to start adding all of the ingredients that make this creamy and delicious. So the first thing I am going to go in with is heavy whipping cream. Again, I just kind of eyeball my ingredients, but like I said, I will leave a link if you guys want the exact ingredients. I added some cream cheese in there. That's probably around 4 ounces of cream cheese. And then I kind of let that melt and stir quite frequently and just mix all of that up and let the flavors just absorb into each other. This is such a delicious and healthy dish. Then I just went in with some Parmesan. Gotta have Parmesan in this dish, makes it even better. The original recipe says to put it on top. I personally like to put it in the dish. I just turned that down to low, let that simmer. That was the finished product. But you know what, you guys? If you guys can't get your kids to eat vegetables, this is a great way. I mean, my kids, if I were to just make spinach, they would never eat it. But if you make it like this, it's a total game changer, even for kids. All right, again, recipes and links will be in the description box below, y'all. All right, so that concludes this week's meal prep. If you guys are loving these meal prep videos, definitely give this a huge thumbs up. As well as if you're not subscribed to my channel yet, what are you waiting for? Go down there, subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to tap that bell so you can get notified when I upload a new video. Also, leave a comment below. Let me know what you like to meal prep or batch cook, or if you have found any delicious brand new recipes. Or you can even follow me on Instagram and tag me on Instagram and let me know what you're cooking up. But again, like always, I'm going to be praying for you, your family, and your country. Thank you so much for watching. I greatly appreciate every single one of you guys. And don't forget to make today even better than yesterday. And I'll talk to you in my next video. Bye. On my own, but I don't know why you hit the road, but you don't realize I won't look back when you're around. I won't think twice when